Because if you're in this room, you're probably living some of these issues and challenges right now. The alphabet soup on this slide is actually kind of intentional. So we have FISMA, NIST 853, FedRAMP CUI requirements. Very likely, if you're not familiar with these, you've certainly heard of them. These are generally baselines. In many cases, they are firm requirements. And the challenge isn't just meeting them, it's proving that you meet all of them consistently. So how do you prove that to auditors that very often have their own checklists? Every tool in your stack can't necessarily demonstrate compliance on its own because they're looking for documentation, they're looking for evidence. So when we dive into specifics like the burden of paper and process optimization opportunities, the reality that most agencies don't really talk about is even after some of these digital first mandates, the actual workflow can often involve someone printing a form, scanning it back in, manually keying in certain details. And when you kind of hone in on that, there's a lot of opportunities for data to be entered wrong. It's still quite time consuming, and it still doesn't really follow the spirit of a lot of these digital first mandates. Shadow PDFs and manual reentry aren't really just slow. They're not positioned to really do well for a lot of these compliance standards. You also have security gaps in audit readiness. So a lot of these tools that may have been adopted years ago weren't really built for the current landscape. They may have worked well at the time, but may not have been suitable for where we are today with FedRAMP standards and a lot of the security control layers that most agencies tend to expect. And at that same time, agencies are often going through their own audits to kind of prove that they are meeting these standards. So when we talk about risk mitigation, this is probably the one that's worth highlighting most importantly here. We're not just talking about a theoretical risk, we're talking about a real risk that exists to ensure that your organization meets these general standards in terms of how it processes data. And where the real nuance there lies is how it captures that, how do your processes capture that information, how it flows into other systems, and how much of that is manual and spread out across maybe a number of different processes across an organization. So that's the problem space, but the good news is that form assembly is pretty well suited towards this, this particular challenge.